What's up, stream? Hello. Hi. Hey, Casper. So, let me describe this very quickly. This is a video series that I'm planning on doing that is inspired by Daniel Naroditsky's Chess Mastery Explained videos, in which he plays against somebody who is much lower rated than him, and then speaks through his decision-making process and also explains through his opponent's decisions and how he chooses to take advantage of what's going on. What I plan to do is, in real time, play best of 5 sets with my subscribers, who we will assume are lower level than I am, and I'm going to be explaining what they're doing wrong in real time and explaining what I'm doing to take advantage of those wrong options. So I think it's going to be a good time. Hopefully, not only my subscribers are going to be able to learn something from this experience, but also, hopefully there are going to be some general concepts that any viewer, maybe even a YouTube viewer, would be able to learn just from watching the video. So, with that being said, let's get started. To be clear with any of the subs that want to play, I'm going to be random staging the entire time. And you guys can counterpick me as much as you want. You can play Peach and go to FD, you can play Pikachu and go to FD, you can play Fox and go to fucking FD, you could go to Marth and go FD. I'm seeing a theme here. Okay, Falco Ditto's FD, so it's all about establishing laser control on the ground. So I immediately approach with lasers, which almost kind of forced Takaroli to give up the ground, and then I got a nice read with my jump shine there. So even just off the rip, you can tell that Takaroli's priorities are in the wrong place. I think I've probably shot maybe 10 lasers at this point. I think Takaroli has shot 0. So this is a big issue since FD is mainly focused on the ground game because there are literally no platforms to retreat to. Now we're seeing some lasers come out, but what you saw there is that I actually rolled past Takaroli, which allowed me to get center stage control. There are 3 rules that I like to follow in this matchup, which are establish laser control, get your opponent in the corner, and be aggressive. What you saw Takaroli do was actually be slightly too aggressive with no control, and actually crossed himself up into the corner. Which is an issue. On the invincibility, we're going to stand as far away as possible. He came down with a laser last time. We're going to descend with a nair here. Was too busy shooting lasers. One thing right there is that Takaroli did not react to the fact that I had used my double jump in that situation, and was still trying to shoot some lasers kind of like this on the ground that really had no bearing. Let's see if he does it again. Okay, he kind of stopped doing it and pressured my landing there. That was much better timing. Kind of impacted that situation. Oh my goodness. So in general, you don't want to be doing laser forward smash unless you catch your opponent airborne, because it's really kind of ineffective. They can usually get their shield up. That's fine. Low up B, which is totally fine. Yeah, drifting in the back here, they're kind of risky, although he did get it pretty late. Double laser from ledge means that I get to pressure that situation, potentially doing a side B there, since I was already busy double jumping above him, or doing a nice clean ledge dash and punishing my landing there. Could have been really, really good. So Yoshi's story here, now we have some platforms, but this stage is still all about, gaining control. It's much easier to push your opponent to the corner on this stage, because it's just much smaller. One hit will kind of send them there. See, he's in the corner, I use my back air, and he just dies. On top of the fact that being in the corner limits your options, because you no longer are able to move backwards, at the same time, you're also closer to the blast zone, and closer to the edge of the stage, which makes it much easier to get killed from. So yeah, I think that Takaroli's priorities in the matchup are at least unclear to Takaroli, so I'm sort of just able to play general Falco mix-ups and just sort of do my normal thing of taking laser control on the ground. Takaroli also is kind of slow out of laser stun. I'm shooting some good lasers to kind of hit him on the ground, but something that you might expect from a Falco that loses laser control in this matchup is to utilize the platforms, maybe take laser dash back, use their up tilt and stuff like that. That was a very nice laser and a cross-up aerial to get out of the corner. But right there, you see how Takaroli put himself into the corner with that dash attack? That was very scary. Absolutely could have allowed me to take the stock there. We're going to do this, and we're going to ledge dash, pressure Randall. Okay. Again, kind of a shot laser on the ground that had no bearing with me being on the platform. So I think reacting and paying a little bit more attention to my exact position would help Takaroli quite a bit. Takaroli's kind of just going through the motions of options that they're comfortable with instead of making informed decisions and choosing from a plethora of options they otherwise could be doing. So we're going to drop down laser here, just pressure the corner with my back air. Nice double jump. Probably would have liked a little bit more damage off that combo, but that's fine. You have to be very careful. I will say that this matchup, doing a run-off double laser like that, in this matchup is probably the least effective matchup to actually do it in. No jump here, we're going to cover Randall. So you see, there's a lot of the corner situations that come up on Yoshi's really quickly. And it's a little less direct than it was on FD, because on FD you literally have no platforms to help you escape the sides, or the corners, I should say. Those situations come up much more frequently just because the stage is smaller. So let's see this right here. So again, I laser forward tilted. If I laser forward tilted in the center of the stage, there's no way that I would have been able to kill him, right? So even just being closer to the edge of the stage means that you are going to have much bigger risk on any option you take, whatever mix-up you choose. And that's going to be the stock. So now we're at 113. Grab isn't going to lead to much, so I'm just going to light shield here. Ooh, caught me. Airborne essentially the entire time. I might have been able to shield that. But the laser forward smash was pretty good. Not sure if it was on reaction, but when I'm at higher percents like that, a lot of times it's just an unnecessary risk. Because if you hit me with a laser forward tilt, I'm also probably dead. But you incur much less risk because it's just a less laggy move. Okay, up tilt right here. Yeah, Taco really just didn't space himself correctly to actually pressure my wake up, which was the problem there. Kind of cover the double laser, go for a weak aerial just to be silly. Get a nice up tilt back air here, probably side B. Yep. And that's going to be that. So in all reality, I think that was actually a really good set to go over that kind of displayed my general feelings about the matchup, which are you need to be sure that you're shooting lasers. I know a lot of people think shooting lasers is like lame or whatever, but in all reality, some of the reasons why Mango is able to beat me is because his lasers are better or faster or more precise than mine. So you have to be sure to establish laser control in the matchup, otherwise you're just going to be contending with options that you have no way of actually dealing with. Being sure that you're not pushing yourself into the corner too terribly often. Like I said, one of the interesting things in the matchup is that a lot of people will start to roll past you because they're trying to position swap, right? If they're in the corner, they're trying to roll past you. But as the Falco, if you don't push yourself into the corner, you can be perfectly positioned to cover that roll. So holding on to position and making sure you don't cross up into the corner is a huge thing. Just realized that a lot of my subscribers are Falco players, so it's likely that we're going to be going over a lot of the same concepts. But let's see how this goes. Okay, immediately starting with lasers this time. You see how I chose and gave up the ground there. But one of the things about giving up the ground in this matchup is that traditionally it's pretty bad. But people, in general, are kind of bad at dealing with Falco's verticality. Giving up the ground is a pretty natural reaction to losing laser control on the ground. But another thing that you could do that I think is really strong is you can actually power shield the laser. And if you power shield the laser and they aren't prepared to jump over it, you essentially just get control of the ground immediately. See exactly like right there. I don't think that Uta was actually prepared for that to be happening, which sort of set me into a weird position, but that's fine. See, laser forward tilt, you see how I don't like laser forward smashing when I have somebody at such a high percent? Because I laser forward tilted and then the matchup just becomes so easy. It's like, okay, well, I just get one more back here and the person's gonna die. Overextension here from Uta, nice. Laser out of shield, noticing that I wasn't gonna be actually pushing in. Nice, good job grabbing the ledge. Something that we can notice is that Uta's actually very willing to take laser dash back, which I think is fine. But you see there's actually been a couple of times where we see multiple instances of take laser dash back in a row. Actually led to him, again, getting into the corner. So not only am I hitting him with lasers and getting laser control, but I'm also winning the stage position. So two parts of the matchup that I've kind of described as being important are kind of happening automatically for me when they're doing something like that. So you have to be very careful, especially on a stage like FD, when you dash back into the corner so far that you no longer have any options. Now, what I would want to tell Uta to do, if I was like coaching in real time, I would want Uta to start waiting a little bit more and holding on to center, like we were sort of talking about earlier. So positioning aggressively, but playing sort of defensively, or playing for me to roll into him. Boom, so I rolled there, and almost Uta did the exact thing I was talking about. But was just too slow, which to me made it seem like Uta just wasn't intentional enough with what they were actually trying to cover. Forgot to restart my music player again, which is totally fine. Yeah, see, these punishes need to be huge. Like, look, I'm gonna get, you know, damage and an edge guard here. Damage and an edge guard. Boom. Right? Uta got 18% and left me in center stage, which is never good. Need more damage. At 0%, you get a shine like that. Has to be shine, downer, shine, downer, shine. Every single time. So another double shine late nair. I'm assuming that this is a shield pressure sequence that Uta's practiced quite a bit. Also right there, you can sort of, you have to cover one of two things when you see a slide off happening. You have to either assume that they're going to drop down and fast fall to the ground, or they're going to immediate double jump. And it looked as though Uta was actually covering the immediate double jump, but didn't actually space far enough inwards to actually out-prioritize my downer with back air. Most of what kind of occurred towards the end of that game was a lot of Uta not really being able to assess whether or not he had enough time to even get a laser out. And then I would shoot a laser while Uta was trying to get a laser out, even though they never had enough time. Which are those situations where what I was doing is I was either giving up the ground, going to platform, or I was power shielding the laser / shielding the laser and then doing something afterwards. One of the important things in this matchup isn't necessarily about who has exactly how much frame advantage, who shot the first laser, who's shooting the second laser, what heights you're shooting them at. Something just at the very ground level that's very important is, do you have enough time to shoot a laser? Do you have enough frame advantage to just get a laser out? Because it's a very long sequence. It's all of your jump squat, which is 5 frames, and then the earliest laser you could possibly do would come out 13 frames later than that, so it's 18 frames, but it usually ends up being somewhere in the 20s. So I don't know what character Casper's gonna go, but I think Puff. We'll see how this one goes. Nice. Let's see if we get a nice little sweet spot double jump here. Yep. Okay, regular get up. Okay. So one of the things there is, if you're going to use your double jump early like that, you want to, in general, be sweet spotting the ledge. Marth has a huge sweet spot ledge grab. And if you're going to be using it early, sometimes you can cover yourself with an aerial, but dipping low like that just meant that I was sort of able to edge guard a lot easier because you were lower but had less resources available to you. You no longer had like jump or side B. So I was sort of like, well, this is an easy ledge grab, and then things just went well for me. It might have been a timing read for Casper right there, but that's fine. Okay, nice run up grab. One thing I will say is that Casper should work on getting jump cancel grabs consistently. There's been a couple of times where even though Casper is getting the grab, I think that if they had been jump cancel grabbing, it might have been just a little bit more reliable, if that makes sense. Nice turnaround with the back air. Okay, it's a little silly. That's fine. Nice. So one thing I want to put an emphasis on, when people have Marthritis, right, they talk about that a lot. One thing that you can always do, and actually becomes slightly easier a lot of the times, is hit your opponent outwards and set them up for an edge guard. If you can set up an edge guard, it doesn't matter what percent they're at, right? So if you hit them with a nair or a forward air or, you know, neutral B or something like that, that can actually set up for an edge guard. One of the scary things about Marth in this matchup is Marth's ability to dash back, right? So a lot of times Marth will prioritize using backwards movement in order to hopefully catch kind of a lazy or a sloppy Falco approaching. But Casper should be careful putting themselves all the way into the corner, since the Marth does become pretty limited. So I like contesting space with like short hop nair, I think is really good. Even that was a situation where I think if Casper had just done a short hop nair out of shield as I was approaching, I think probably would have found a good amount of success there. Probably would have beat out my nair, I think. So we see again, this concept of being cornered is such a big deal in so many matchups. It's funny, we're getting to see Marth versus Falco and Falco versus Falco, which are two of the matchups where I think it impacts the most. Throwing somebody onto a platform, hitting them with like forward airs, up airs, or up tilts. Almost always that is going to be the option. A well-timed and space forward smash though does take the stock. Shielding in the corner, yep, side B right there. It does have the double jump, so I have to refresh here. But yeah, gotta be careful using that jump and side B close to the stage and high above the ledge. Gotta be careful, okay? Okay, so we see Fountain of Dreams Jigglypuff here, which is fine. So let's see what happens. We get to the ground, attempts to shield. So one of the things that I would say to Casper already is that the more time you can spend in the air, the better. It's also difficult to play the aerial game against Falco because his lasers actually turn Puff around, so she doesn't have the benefit of using her really disjointed back air against Falco. But you have to find the angles of approach, and you also have to weave between the lasers. Being on the ground as Puff, is pretty brutal in this matchup. So you got to be really careful about that. Punish, but I was a little tunneled on doing an up smash there. Tournament winner I actually like as an option from the ledge. That's good to see. Ooh, nice. Yeah, so there was the nair, which auto-canceled into the grab. I was actually trying to jab that, but didn't quite happen. Those grabs. So you see there, I shot the laser. Now Puff's face is turned towards me. So her forward air and her nair, and essentially all of her forward-facing options, get really, really out-prioritized by Falco. So you have to be extremely careful with how you choose to approach, because otherwise you're just going to get beat out by up tilts, back airs. See that back air just beating out the forward air? Yeah, so I can essentially, that was a very nice timing in between though. But that time I shot a laser instead. So you see this sort of dynamic neutral with like the different timing mix-ups that Puff has, the different drifts that she can do. That's fine. Back air here. Going to ledge. Oh no! I'm not dead guaranteed. Yeah, not dead guaranteed. A lot of people misjudge how long Falco's up B goes. That grab was a little silly, I will say. That's fine. Shield was a little low, which made me feel a little comfortable going for that forward smash. But GG's to Casper. Thinking about where I can laser and like what avenues I'm cutting off with the lasers is important, because I should feel under pressure by back airs a little bit more than I am. And also you should be looking to get more grabs than you were. I do think that if you are gonna be grounded, you need to highly prioritize grab, highly. But you should also, you know, shy away from being grounded essentially as much as possible.
Get into it.